Okay, so we're going to go through some of the things here, mostly ones that are highlighted. So a couple of them are going to repeat, so just keep it in mind. So for someone who wants something unnecessary, so let's say, I don't know, whatever it is. If it's like in that South Park episode where they want, you know, dolphin lungs and they want to be like a shark, all right? Like you don't start off by saying like, what are you, retarded? You say, hey, um, why do you want that? Whenever you're confronted with something that doesn't immediately make sense in real life and when you're in a position, always try and get more information to try and figure out what the mechanism is, to try and figure out why someone wants something a certain way. And then, of course, from there, you can work with the patient or work with whoever to arrive to a more reasonable conclusion. Starting off and saying, no, absolutely not, you're crazy, um, is going to obviously put the patient in a bad mood, but it's also going to stop any sort of back and forth Socratic method of, discussing and coming to a conclusion that you would be able to have if you foster an atmosphere of, of working together and stuff. So, patient has difficulty taking medications. Here, there's actually more than just what I just highlighted. One of the big things with taking medications, a lot of it may have to do with the patient's background. So maybe the patient um, uh, isn't a native English speaker, and the directions on like the pill bottle are too small, or maybe they can't see. Okay, so if they're not an English speaker, let's say, then X, you don't know what's going on, they don't know what all those words mean. Okay, so then maybe try it in a language that they understand. Maybe visually show them, maybe have them, here we go, teach back, explain back to you what's going on. There's a lot of ways um, to express information and to give information. So your job, of course, as a physician is to understand the problem, just like in this first one, and then see what you can do to mitigate it. Obviously, if a family member asks about anything, you can't do it. Um, this is an interesting case right here where the family member says, don't give a person any information. Just like in this first case we talked about, where something kind of itches you the wrong way, you can say, well, your first instinct should be, I wonder why this person's saying this. So you should ask them, well, what should I, tell me what you mean. Tell me what you mean by it. Why shouldn't I give this person this information? And if it turns out, the day before the family member had told everyone that they're gonna, go postal if they get a certain result, well, then in that case you can say, oh, okay. The test isn't gonna test you on, oh, what things are okay to be withheld from a patient and what conditions. What they're going to test you on is uh, a mother comes up to you and says, don't give the information to my son if it's positive. And the answer that you're going to have to give is figure out why. Is, ask her to step outside and explain what she means by that. It's not going to be ignore the mother, what does she know? Okay. For this next thing, 17-year-old is pregnant, wants an abortion. So you're not going to see this as often as you're going to see questions that are down here below. Questions like 17-year-old girl is pregnant, wants an abortion. Because here you've got like a million things going on. She's a minor, she's into sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and she wants an abortion. And depending if you're in the United States, which if you're taking USMLE, you're going to be, um, all the states require different things. And if they were to give you a question on this, it would require knowledge of like the state stuff. So they're not going to test you on things like this. If anything, they'll use it as an introduction to ask a question like this. The parents say you have to give it up for adoption. Well, patient still has the right with regards to saying what can go on with the child. Okay. So, terminally ill patient asking help ending their own life. Of course, you can't go around killing people. However, there is something called principle of second intent or double effect. And this was coined by St. Thomas Aquinas, who was a Christian guy, and he was like, well, if killing's bad, under what condition, if any, is it acceptable? What if someone's charging at me and I pick up a sword to defend myself, and in my defense, although it's not my intent, my intent is to defend myself, but if during my defense I end up taking their life, Does that look bad on me? Like, what do I do? And the conclusion was that, you know, hey, since your primary intent was not to kill, and that was just an effect of you doing your primary intent, then it's not a big deal. Don't get hung up on it. Similarly, if someone has, you know, super kidney disease, and I keep saying things like trigeminal neuralgia and stuff, and just constant pain, and they're like, doc, end it. Well, then you can treat their pain with morphine, which will have an unintended effect of decreasing the respiration, which might lead to an end. Okay. Someone says they feel ugly. Do not offer falsely reassuring statements, not just if they're ugly, but also if they say, doc, am I going to be okay? You can't say, you're going to be great, don't worry about it. You should say something like, I promise to do everything I can to ensure the best result. And of course, if you do an invasive test in the wrong patient, you always have to own up to your mistakes. In medicine, just like in real life.